want to say thank you to the world for helping us to rebuild our country. Jiggy, jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance. So make we march in unity. Whether PNP or Liberal. Well, on behalf of all Jamaicans, I just want to say thank you to the world for helping us to rebuild our country. Jiggy, jiggy and march, march. But make we dance with it now. Come make we march, all Jamaicans. We are one big family. Time come for deliverance. So make we march in unity. Whether PNP or Liberal, our God loves all of we. We are marching on to progress. Jam down and feel all of we. Everything Melissa broke down, we are gonna build back. We are gonna build back better than before. Every house we broke down, we are gonna build back. 'Cause our God have blessings in store. Time come to rebuild together. 'Cause Jamaica is our home. We are stepping out of darkness into the light. We're gonna build stronger roof and doors.
Good evening, Labour Roots, and good evening to all other comebacks watching this channel. Welcome to another episode of Political Hard Talk. I am your host, none other than the greatest Labourite alive. Good evening, my people. Good evening, worlders. Now, tonight, we are going to go down memory road, memory lane, my people. We, must never forget, what these people did to our beloved country. And every chance we get, we must point it out, especially to the young ones, what had happened in our country and why Jamaica remained poor for so long, why we did not grow for so long. It was due to mismanagement and, I believe deliberately done to keep the Jamaican people down so they would stay above us. And when I say they, I'm talking about the People's National Criminal Organization. I heard today, my people, in no uncertain terms, that the lady or the ladies that were fighting at the gas station, I heard today 100% that it was over a man. So, one bun up now, and I don't know if the next one will go to jail or not. Probably not, but, because, Jamaica, we're going to say self-defense, and it is self-defense, so, but I heard today through the grapevine that, they were warring over a gentleman. So I am going to do the evening shout-outs now, my people, and then we're going to kick off the program. See? So, Ryan, big up yourself. Sylvan, big up yourself. Arlene, big up yourself. Kay Clark, big up yourself. Mama Winsome, good evening. Monica Tennant, Corinne, big up yourself. Annette, big up yourself. It's Who, big up yourself. PB, big up yourself. Arnold, big up. Good evening to my beautiful wife. Good evening, baby. Lawrence, big up yourself. Dahlia. Hey, Hutchins, big up yourself. Anita Earlford, good evening. Good evening to all of the comebacks that is here watching, and good evening to all of the silent watchers. See, now, between 1989 and 2007, Jamaica's total debt doubled. So, what had happened, my people? Because Michael Manley had crashed the Jamaican economy. And, geopolitics. The Americans would have came into the space. The Cubans were in the space. The Russians was in the space. And, Jamaica being run by the PNP at that time in the 70s. Michael Manley had sought to bring the country down a road that, the powers that be did not agree with. And the powers that be ended up, doing what they could to remove him. And, Edward Seaga would have gone on to win the general election. They would have stand by, the Americans would have stood by, standing ready to help Jamaica with loans and grants. Now they granted us what they could grant us, and we would have borrowed what we can borrow because those grants weren't enough to build back the country to what Michael Manley had allowed to happen. Now people are going to say about a CIA sabotage and this and that. No, if Michael Manley never put himself in a position there, the CIA sabotage him. CIA never go get up and sabotage him for no reason at all. Jamaica no gold and no oil and no what CIA did want. Nothing at all. See? Fast forward to Michael Manley winning the election again in 1989, and this is how stupid the Jamaican people are. Michael Manley would have gone away now for 10 years and pick up himself and dust himself off, take off a bush jacket and come again as a man in a suit. Jamaican people would have given him a decisive victory. Michael Manley would then fall sick, probably about 2 years into that leadership, into that victory. Michael Manley would hand over the reins to none other than Percival Noel James, or James Noel. I not think of Noel James. The Bumps, Patterson. PJ Patterson would go on, he and Omar Davis, Portia Sims Miller, Dr. Peter Phillips, Burchell Whiteman, KD Knight, something another Duncan. Forgot what Keith Duncan father name. There's several of them. Carl Blight, Roger Clark, DK Duncan, yes. Several of them. They would go on to win many victories in our nation. And during 1989 to 2007, Jamaica's debt stayed extremely high relative to the size of the economy. Meaning, the debt that we owed outpaced what we made in Jamaica, our gross domestic produce, our product. Now you have PNP out there that is stupid enough to say that Jamaica was debt-free and a PJ, and but we who are knowledgeable of the situation, we know that debt was there from Manley and debt was there from Seaga, and then the PNP came again and dumped on those debt that was left there instead of trying to get rid of it. See, interest payments consume a very large share of government revenue, my people. I say just the interest alone upon the debt that Jamaica owed at that time between 1989 and 2007, just the interest alone and the debt that we owed was more than 50% of our tax take in Jamaica. This is why the PNP was taxing Jamaica so heavily every year, because the debt that we owed, they were not paying that back. They were only paying the interest on the debt that we owed. So because of that, they were taxing us to pay just the interest alone and the debt, my people. And this is why we had 17 consecutive years of taxes and pay freezes under the People's National Criminal Organization. And they are the one who mess up the economy. Because when they got it and had a chance to fix it, they did no such things. See? Good evening, Jem. Good evening, Mary. Christine, good evening. O'Neill, big up yourself. Tanya, it's who, big up yourself. Good evening to my beautiful mother-in-law. Melody, good evening. Texas Ball say, what does seen mean when you say it because you can't see a word? Seen mean, you get me? You see me? You see me? That it mean. You get what I am saying, man? See? So, the PNP would go on to borrow on top of the debt that was already doubled, my people. They would go on, instead of creating jobs and creating lasting jobs and getting in investors to come in, and a lot of investors did not want to come in to the space because Burns, big up yourself, and Pauline, big up yourself. A lot of investors did not want to come into the space. They went elsewhere because PNP wasn't investor friendly. One, they charged too much tax, and two, the country was crime riddled because a lot of these criminals, they are affiliated to the People's National Criminal Organization. So they did nothing to get rid of crime and criminality in the country. And hence why a lot of persons did not want to come into the space to invest the people. So we must never, big up yourself, JK. We must use every opportunity to speak about these things. What happened during the FinZac era and what caused FinZac? Because FinZac was something designed by the government to try and plug the gap or to fix the issue that was happening, but it ended up on backfire. So listen to this. You would have gone to your bed tonight. All right, let me phrase it a different way. You took out a loan for your business, right? Elements, big up yourself. Marston, big up. Caroline, big up yourself. Marcia, big up yourself. Good evening. You would have taken out a loan for your business today at the bank or last month at the bank. For example, you take out $100,000 to buy some stock for your business. The economy would then crash, right? And instead of the government finding money to bail out the banks, right? The government would say, all right, instead of we try to bail out the bank first, let us put up the interest rates and see if we can collect the money from the people them first. And if that not work, then we do bail out. So what they did is, you would have gone to your bed tonight owing, you borrowed 100,000, so you have to pay back probably 10, 15, 20,000 upon top of 100,000, or you have to pay back. The government, because we never had no regulations, the Bank of Jamaica was not regulated. See? And it was not regulated until 2016 when Andrew Holness then come there. So there was no regulation in the bank. The government of Jamaica could have gone in a Bank of Jamaica and do anything. See? They could have just called on a bank and say, do this, do that, do this. Right? So what happened is, my people, you go in your bed tonight and you borrow 100,000, you have to pay back 120,000. So you got to pay back 20,000 upon 100,000 you borrow. You would then wake up tomorrow morning owing $1 million. So that 100,000 where you borrow, and you're supposed to only pay back 20,000 or 30,000 interest upon it. You'll wake up tomorrow morning overnight owing $1 million. Where you get it from? You can't hardly pay back 100,000 where you owe. Where you get 1 million to pay back? That is what the PNP did to the people of Jamaica. See? And then people get up and say PNP love them. Me have to wonder sometimes if they're sick. All like people them get up and talk about PNP love them. Eh? You love somebody and do that to them. Now, many of you would have been privy to the audio from Eula Gray Baker. And we're going to play that. We're not going to play it in its entirety, but we're going to play for the new audience that we have here that might not have known about this. And we, like me say, we are starting to reach some younger audience. I want them to hear just how cruel and how wicked the PNP was to the people of Jamaica, especially the business community. They don't like business people because the people that is at the top of the PNP, they don't like when time you reach up at the top with them. And that's why they might fight against Andrew, because Andrew ghetto youth. Don't ghetto youth not supposed to upper top. Mark Golding grew up as upper echelons, just like Peter Bunting, upper echelon. Enough of them people they want to see in a PNP. Them grew up upper echelon. So they don't want no boy from out ghetto come rub shoulder with them. And that's a problem. See, that's why they try to tear down Andrew Holness. So. But it not work. See, big up in the Sheldon. So we have moved to the audio, my people. Now listen to this. I play from YouTube, so you might hear one and two ads chip in. No one did. See?
The Observer writes about it to this effect that the financial shock, which began in 1991 in Jamaica, ballooned unchecked over the next 5 years until it exploded with a catastrophic bang in 1996. The explosion left shrapnel scattered over the financial landscape, which still impacted on the economy so many years later. Sister Valerie Dixon is a survivor of that shock that the Observer talk about, a survivor of the government's response to the financial crisis of the 1990s. And she's, as we have said, written her book, Too Black to Succeed, the FinSAC Experience, on the phone lines. Lady President of the UNIA Kingston chapter, educator, author, entrepreneur, and grandmother. My sister Valerie Dixon,
So what I want to bring out this morning is that a lot of people do not understand where this thing came from. And I want to just read a little from an appendix that was written in the Observer some time ago. It says, when Omar Davis then...
Guys, when I get me some thumbs up now, 176, I will see if I can get me to at least 70 thumbs up. Double tap the phone screen or hit the three dots in the right hand corner of the screen, hit the thumbs up button. Just hit the thumbs up button if you see it generally. And do subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. See?
PNP finance minister in the 1990s began the process of dismantling the Central National Bank. It was done immediately after the Don Crawford-run entity had bought a significant...
I want to tell you guys that the Central National Bank was purposely dismantled by the PNP. Reason being, Don Crawford was a close friend of Edward Seaga. And when Edward Seaga left government in 1989, that is where he went to work for Don Crawford. So it was deliberate and purpose that the PNP went after Central National Bank to tear it down, my people. So I know a lot of you know make the connection and come from that Edward Seaga borrow 22 million and a payback. Then they say 30, some say 100, some say 200, some say 300. But that is why they went after Central National Bank, because that is where Edward Seaga worked when he left government. And Edward Seaga was instrumental in building back the financial sector in the 80s, my people. So the PNP went after his legacy. But we're going to make a connection them tonight. See?
of US dollars at a few dollars more than the price the official exchange rate indicated. The bank did nothing which other banks were not doing in a time when an inept PNP government was struggling with managing a market economy which it knew little or nothing about. What the sale of those dollars did was reveal that the very same finance ministry was covertly, that means underground, dispatching agents with huge stacks of cash in the trunks of their cars to buy US dollars at prices.
That was the government of Jamaica doing that, The PNP government of Jamaica was doing that. And for the life of me, I don't understand why we can't go back, go investigate some of them crime that will happen because of crime them. Some of them financial crime that will happen. Why we can't go back, go investigate them and find who responsible and lock them up. Good evening, Mama Sonia. Father Victor, big up yourself. Doris, big up yourself. Bert, Robert, big up yourself. See?
Above the official exchange rate. The money was stolen eventually. With blood rushing to its head when this action was revealed, an embarrassed PNP government set about withdrawing public funds from the Central National Bank, making it publicly known. And in the process, it started or triggered a run on the bank, which was seemingly designed to end its life. That, however, is a sad history for the...
And then you see, they started a run on Century National, my people. And them deliberately, start buy up US out of the market. I buy if it higher than the rate. Them a buy if it them a purposely I try to tear down Century National Bank. And they eventually try to kill Dan Crawford, Dan Crawford had to run out of Jamaica. The PNP government did this, If you don't even know the wickedness what we are deal with in the party there, in our country. On stay there.
Most progressive bank existing in Jamaica at that time. So if you withdraw money from the most progressive bank at the time, what do you think is bound to happen? It is going to trigger what is known as a domino effect. There's going to be a run or a rush on the bank for people trying to get out their monies. And we do not understand, most of us, what the effect or the repercussions or the consequences of such a run on a bank would actually do. Because if you affect one thing over here, it is going to affect other things over there.
All right, so that takes us, Val, to your own personal experience, which you wrote about in the book.
I guess you don't never tell me, people. I guess you don't never tell me who was the two orchestrator of this thing. Who was the two advisors to this all wicked there? Oh no, I see. Anybody can tell me in the comment section who was the advisors? There were 3 advisors, but 2 of them is more prominent than the other. Anybody can tell me who they were that was advising this brother here to tear down Jamaica? If you don't say Mark Golding, you don't get it right. And Peter Bunting. Yes. And they became multi-billionaires out of it.
Let us go there. And you and your husband, you were in the construction industry. Talk to us about that.
Yes. You have to be the one who is, well, it wouldn't be wise for you to capitalize that job you have out of your own pocket. So you are dependent on the banking system to finance you upfront, because in construction you have to put down the building, and as you go along you can then certify that the work is done so you can get paid from the client. But in the meantime, you have your expenses such as salaries and wages, you have your utility bills, you have your suppliers, you have everybody to pay until you get paid. So when your bank collapses, which was Workers' Bank, and you are now faced with not being able to get funding, what do you think is going to happen? Your creditors are going to be down on you. In other words, everything now comes crashing down on you and your only fault or crime was to go and borrow money that you must use because nobody's going to really, as I said, finance people's houses, buildings, shopping malls, whatever, out of their own pocket unless you're one of those types. But anyway, let me just quickly go on. So you are faced with Hobson's choice, which is no choice at all. You have to give collateral in order to secure these loans. And by collateral, we mean you have got to mortgage something or give up something for the bank to say, you want $1 million? Bring 40,000 acres worth of property.
So what the PNP did, my people, and today we have unsecured loan. You can borrow a loan and you don't have to give up no collateral. But during those times, you had to give up collateral. So what the PNP did, they went around buying back people's debt, my people. And even some people offered, say, please, you go take my house, me buy back my house. And they would refuse. They would refuse. And what they would do, they would share up the spoils, my people, amongst themselves. Today you have literal PNP MPs that is living in homes that these people that was Finzac built and bought during that time. PNP officials living at those houses today. Then buy them for liquor and nothing. See? Or then share them up amongst themselves. This is the type of wickedness. But Jamaicans don't really know this, especially the PNP one them, because they will listen to this, but they will never comprehend it and understand what happened. See?
Come. So the bank holds on to that. Sooner or later, with your being stymied or held at almost gunpoint, you are not able to get financing. You're not able to get payment from your clients. So you have to now go and seek every possible means. And one of them is to put your house up for mortgage. Or better yet, as collateral again. I will just read quickly here what another one of the appendix said. It said, the tragic irony is that many of those producers and manufacturers in Jamaica, trusting that their government was looking after their interest, had borrowed, sometimes pledging their homes to invest in state-of-the-art equipment to improve their efficiency, only to be crushed by the high cost of servicing the debt, that is, high interest rates, which are generally harmful.
Yes.
Many sought out new export markets to increase their sales, but lost them as their competitiveness vanished through government's exchange rate policies. Many strengthened their marketing only to be overwhelmed by the advantages given to imported competition by the government's unwise, liberalized trade policies.
So after the government tear down the people, them people, they actually allow foreigners to come in now. So you see how PNP first people are ball out say, oh, foreigner they are China and take over. It is the PNP that liberalized our economy to do that. It is them that started all of that. And it is a good thing. I don't think it is a bad thing, my people. It's a good thing for persons to come in and create employment and create jobs. But when people are going like a labor right do it, and because a labor right it happen, no, a PNP is the one who did that in the beginning, my people, because they crash the economy and then they fix that they try to fix it with crash it further. So.
And I'll stop there for a moment.
Yes.
Every time it is the foreigners who get the edge or the advantage over local producers and local manufacturers who are the homegrown variety. In the Finsac debacle, we were in business for over 20 years. Another company was in business for over 50 years. Another company founded by our national hero, George Gordon, was over 100 years old. And again, we ask the question. The government contented itself to believe that companies which had been conducting business successfully for decades were suddenly struck en masse with ineptitude, stupidity, and amnesia as to how to properly run a business.
Explain to us, Val, what do the government do exactly? Because we only talk about the FinSac debacle. What exactly are we talking about?
Okay. You went to your bed last night and interest rate, let's say for argument's sake, is at 30%. You wake up this morning and you see a headline in the newspaper that says government to increase interest rate to 64%. Mm-hmm. Please tell me which business would be able to fill that gap between paying interest rate at 30% and suddenly jump with no notice to paying interest rate at 60 and probably more. Overdraft interest rate went up overnight to 120%.
And the impact of that action on businesses was what you are describing.
That is exactly what I'm describing. Mm-hmm. So how is it that these people who are running business for over all these decades suddenly overnight become bad debtors? Mm-hmm. Do you see the point I'm making there?
Yes, as a matter of fact,
we were villainized.
Yes.
We were hounded down like common criminals. And we had to watch our businesses go up in smoke. Mm-hmm. While foreign investors came in, they got tax breaks, they got tax holidays, and we were what? Mm-hmm. Flung aside and discarded as rubbish. Yes. We were called bad debtors.
As a matter of fact, for those who have a copy of the book, you'll see that the appendix F.
Some people, I decided to run this clip and play this because somebody messaged me on Facebook say, "Me don't know what me talk about," and FinSac wasn't a bad thing because people don't understand what FinSac is. You know, so we are let the lady tell you fear experience. She was FinSac, and there's many others, my people. See?
Anatomy of the FinSac debtor, which was published in the Sunday Gleaner 2011, July 10 by Claude Clark, guest columnist, starts out by saying, and I don't know if you have that, you can read that first, Val, where he says part of the fallout from the FinSac folly has been the summary dismissal of the thousands of productive Jamaican business persons as bad debtors. And this is what you're saying.
Yes, that after more than a century of successful Jamaican businesses, the 1990s ushered in a period in which the positive relationship between productive entrepreneurs and their financial partners or banks came to a crashing halt. Thousands of healthy Jamaican businesses, some of which had grown to become regional and world beaters, were disdainfully discarded by our national economic stewards as bad debtors.
Wow. And by discarded, because you now can help us to understand what Claude Clark meant now, because I'm sure it's a long letter and you would have gone through that, but help us to understand what happened to you in terms of how you were discarded, how your family business was discarded, and the impact of that on your family.
As you said already, I am a teacher. And I remembered my husband coming in one evening looking very dejected and saying, "I have to take your money this month." You know, I said, "Which money?" "You pay, man, you pay." So I said, "Really?" Long story short, he said to me, "Which do you prefer, material wealth or your life?" So, of course, I just cut my eye and said, "It has to be my life, of course." I mean, what kind of question that? He said, "Good." So I said, "What does good mean?" "He's going to take the title of our house and go and see if he can seek some money, because the job that he's doing for the government is not paying as the contract said it should. In other words, if the government owed him $10, they would pay him 10 cents or sometimes 5 cents, just for argument's sake. Now, you cannot say the government forfeited on the contract because they're paying something. What he should have done at that stage was to end the job right then and there. But this is Jamaica. And the man has spent decades building his business. And now to be blacklisted by a bad-minded set of people who don't want to see...
You see how far PNP bad mind I come from? And it come from even further back than that from in the 70s, my people. See? Bad mind cause this, bad mind. They don't want to see people have nothing.
You prosper and do well, he would never get work again in this country. Because they would say and tell the public that he breached the contract by ending the job before time, and that is why they can't trust him again with any more contracts. Blacklisted, done with you. How would the man continue? I mean, this is his life you're talking about.
Yeah.
So people who beat them chest and say, who, me? Give me title, carry it, go wherever? No, sir. They fail to understand what it means to be in a contract. Yet when the government did breach our contract, it was hell and powder house to prove to people that we were not inept, that we were not stupid, that we were not forgetful, that we were literally destroyed overnight because of the high interest rates that we could not meet, no matter how many titles did in a shed pan underneath the bed.
And to put this in a wider context, we're speaking and you've written about your own particular experience, but one of the things that you keep going back to in the book is that your experience was not unique to you. You're talking about 44,000 Jamaican businesses.
44,000 Jamaicans, they have a book to write as well. Because when you see who got our assets, and I want to bring this point out quickly, we as the so-called bad debtors offered the government of the day to buy back our assets at 25 cents in the dollar. This is US. And we were refused, we were rejected. And yet they brought in a white Texan man to set up what I call a usury company and sold him our assets at 5 cents in the dollar.
And then you wonder, but you understand. Not
When I see a BNP wicked, my people. When you can't say, I make up the story, I can't attack. When I hear people, them call PNP love, say me a liar, and me a wicked. So one of them tell me, say, God will kill me for you, all I lie to me, I tell, that they tell me today. See, I would just tell you, say, if God not will kill you, God not will kill me. See, so me just want to know now, say, I know me attack, a people attack, the experience. When I see how PNP wicked, sir, mighty God.
You wonder, now you understand why you have a 40-year to probably 60 years moratorium on the FinSAC report. But why is there no call, no serious? Every time I hear a call for the report to be released, it's coming literally from your lips. Why is Jamaica silent then on the FinSAC Commission report?
Because most of us as black Jamaicans, we have lost it. We have lost our cojones. Go look that up. That is Spanish. Our spine gets soft like cooked macaroni. There is one lady, and I have to give credit where credit is due, Yola Baker. She has been the first lone voice in the wilderness crying out for justice. And I don't know if it's because she's a woman, why she was treated with such ridicule at times. And if this woman mad, she don't know what she's talking about. And yet when you hear who is living in our house, you eye them open big like saucer. And
you're talking about these houses now that was...
Anybody can tell me which member of parliament is living in Eula Gray Baker house? One member of parliament pack up a woman out her house. Anybody can, our former member of parliament know? Anybody can tell me who it is? Does anybody know?
Sold
by this Texan who came and bought our assets for a mere song and a dance and then resold it for profit. And most of the people who bought our assets were well connected in politics. If I tell you who got my house, but I can't do that because you know how this is Jamaica.
Yes.
So we have to just clear our throats around certain things. But this is a travesty of justice that should never go unpunished.
And one,
I believe that a future government should come, my people. A future government should come and look seriously into this. And all of these injustices should be rectified. You know, if the people then can't get back their property, they should be compensated, my people. You know, I believe that something should come of this. You know, these people, they work hard for their stuff, and it was the government fault. They crashed the economy. You know, at the time, the PNP government, they crashed the economy at the time. And when they realized that the economy was crashing, instead of taking measures to try and rectify it, you know, they decided to do something that would make it even worse. See?
You look and see what people bought our assets for that we worked so hard and honestly for.
and this is why I'm saying to Jamaicans, please read Valerie's book, because she takes us on this journey. And one of the things that made me cry, Valerie, when you first told this story, my sister, you were in the studio, and I read it because you wrote about it in the book. And I know we have just a few minutes to go, but that is a story that tugged on my heart as a daughter, as a sister, when I read it, about how you found out that you'd lost your house, and what you saw in a vehicle in terms of your clothes, and what you felt and how dejected you felt, and you know, that whole, just the way you told that story and how it's written in the book. I saw the tears literally dropped onto the page as I was reading, because I felt your pain through those pages. Explain that moment to us.
It was really our very, very helpful and faithful helper who came in one Monday morning. I titled that No Ordinary Monday Morning. And she said to me, Miss D, is what number so-and-so subdivision we live at, ma'am? So I said, I gave her the number. She said, Lord have mercy, look here, ma'am. And she gave me the classified section of the newspaper. And she circled public auction, house at lot so-and-so and so, subdivision name. And believe you me, my knee went weak. I feel nothing but pure crawly. I run through my knee then. I had to grab a seat. So I said, no, sir. My husband, I forgot to explain this. What is my house doing on a public auction block? Mm-hmm. Long story short, I said, all right. Well, I forgot to use the little education now where we get. That my mother insisted that I should have, and like a common sense. And we got, I don't know if this legal or not legal, but at this stage now, I don't care. We got a real estate person to come and look at the house, and he said he know the perfect man who will buy this house from us so that we can avoid having to have it on the auction block. Mm-hmm. See ya? Long story short, when we reached the lawyer now to sign the sale agreement, if you think me did have crawly in my knee back when we hear the news, and now we're going to know who the real owner is going to be.
When you hear this lawyer business, a lawyer in Jamaica is very, very, you have to be careful.
Well, I think something slapped me back to reality, and I said, well, God, whatever this is, I surrender. Mm-hmm. Because I can't do nothing about this. So the lawyer gave us about 3 months in which to pack up our roaches and come out of the people in place. Mm-hmm. This is after raising our family here for at least 2 decades. It was now no longer ours.
And you're talking about an upscale community
Yes, you know, shame to say,
Right.
it is a mixed community, but a lot of upscale houses were there. It was really designed for the bauxite managers, the expatriates, the white people to live in this little enclave. But things happened in the 70s, and they began to sell lots to upcoming professionals, and we were among professionals. We called ours, we went to university, we went to college. So we did all the right things that your mother would have been proud of. And my mother was very proud because your education is now paying dividends.
Yes.
Look here, 2 days after we went to the lawyer, I said, the real estate, I get choked up, but I'll go on. The real estate man come back and say, the lady says she want the house now. So anytime I'm nervous, I laugh. I say, oh, you mean no? Didn't we get X time to pack up with carotas and me set my few little plants and things? Him say, no, the so-and-so man said that him have to get the key, otherwise I'm not going to get any commission. So you have to move today. Well, me did have like a business to do, so me just looked on him and husband and said, well, I don't see how I can possibly move over 20 years in one day, so wanna work it out. Hear what the man tell me, say, this so-and-so man knows of 2 houses to rent, and I must go and choose one of them. Well, you don't argue with certain kind of people in this country. So I went and I said, one of them was in the same community, so I would look at that one, because the other one wasn't suitable. See, Mom? When I reach what I think is the address, is a truck that I see in front of the gate, and there is my gardener giving instructions as to how he must come through the 2 column them without lick down the people in gate column. When I look in at the truck, listen to it. How them things they look like my things so. When we see curtain, I mean drapery, wrap up with plate, wrap up with shoes, some sofa just catch precariously on the side of the truck, and I said, but what is happening here? So I turned to the guy, I said, what's going on? Him don't look at me alone. Him said, the man said, we have to move, ma'am. I said, but I don't even look inside of this house. I pass here every day. This house lock up how much years now? So how you mean you putting me things in that condition? He said, the man said, then don't give the key. Well, they're iron by now. Go back up the driveway to go jump in my car. Go back round the house because it's this man. When it's this man now, come park right in front of me. See ya? I march up to him now, fire, snap, you name it. When I look on the back seat of the man's car, not even car, car, I'm going to close that pack up from the seat right up to the ceiling.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So I believe you me, it was like Dunn's River Falls busted on my head. The eye water just gush. Here the man look at me and say,
I which farmer member of parliament do that, my people. Take out the woman sitting them, pack up the woman sitting them. Anybody can tell we. That's a wicked set of people them we did have to deal with, you know. That's why I gotta punish them, you know. That's why they will lose 5 elections in a row, you know. And they might lose 10 before they see back power. I remember something telling you.
You can stand about your holla. Me have to get my commission today, and him say today 3 times. The man just palms up my clothes, one handle my clothes off his seat, encircle my clothes and burst past me gone down the driveway, enter inside of this house that I don't look into yet. I don't know where I'm trying to put them down and come back out and take another load, and it went until the car unpacked with my clothes and then drive off.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you know, and that is just part of the experience.
And that was just part of what happened. To us, whose only crime was to create employment for Jamaicans. Because when my husband was at the top of his game...
When you hear that? Their only crime was to create employment for Jamaicans. PNP not like you if you are work, if you're hard working. This is why they close down all our free zone them and close down everywhere where they could and close down. and tell you, say, go on to party, we're going to go to 2,500 a fortnight or a week for part money. We don't have to work, just go and go sit down. So, then can continue to control you. That is why they do things like that. See? Andrew now do that. Andrew says, see one skill there, and you set a price, you earn, see fish line and the hook there, we're going to see if you can hook your biggest fish. That's the way Andrew tell you. PNP say, hey, see one job, burn up herring ya, chop it, and then look at what we give our next one. See?
Now, of course, you know you're going to have the bad-minded people and who's the boy, the Dixon, and this, that, and that. But he was employing from degreed architect, degreed people come right down to murderer who are wait to get him sentenced as the person who is manual labor and push barrel. That is the amount, that is the extent of what we were doing for our country as black people, as black producers, as black entrepreneurs. And this is the experience that Mythic Megalia had to go through because of government and politics.
You know,
and when I see who get that house, I'm telling you, I am telling you.
You said
one but don't river bus again. So
yeah, but we leave it there. You have said a lot in the book, and we don't want to talk about all of the books. Still, we also, although we need to have the conversation here, but we need persons to go and get the book. We also need you to read the book, and we need you to make the calls and write the letters and ask the questions in the public spaces. What happened to the FinSAC report? Why the FinSAC report under lock and key for 40 odd years when most people dead and gone? That's the question that we need to ask. Who is the FinSAC report protecting?
So, Bruce Golding had decided that, he's going to do the FinSAC report and let the chips lie where they may. If Labour get caught in a net, I just say it don't happen already, and what we have to do is compensate the people there. See? Bruce Golding had put the money aside and pumped the money into the FinSAC Commission. The commission started, and as soon as Portia Simpson Miller won the election in 2012, she put the spanner in the works and she removed the money that was meant to go to the commission. Why did she do that? See? And since she did that, enough of the things them we can't find. We can't find enough of the paperwork them. Some of the old people them did on the commission dead. Some gonna foreign, we can't find some of the something them. So the PNP bury the FinSAC report. We can't find the people them and find some of the things them. So this is why the government the other day just put everything where they have on a website so you can go and go look through it. See? But the actual commission itself and what it was meant to find, we don't end up finding nothing because the PNP then bury it as soon as they come back to government in 2012. That is what happened. That is the honest to God truth. What happened? See? And we know Fairfax here that happened.
Why and it must be a whole host of people who are being protected by why this report is under lock and key. But it's one of the injustices that's a scar on the conscience of Jamaica, and one that we want to ensure that on our watch, we do that which we are supposed to do. Yes.
Yes, Taboo, and I want to end by saying that when you see the color of the people who got bailed out, and when you see the color of the people who are under the same circumstances and were destroyed, it makes you draw the conclusion that most of us are too black to succeed. So the brown ones and white ones, too white and brown to fail, and we the black ones, too black to succeed. I'm not care who will argue with me. That was my experience. I lived through it, and even though we're not quite out of the woods, but it could have worse, as the boy street would have said.
Well, one of the things you have done in the book is to, and that's why the book is a history text, because you've looked at this from a historical perspective. You've looked at Morley Moore, Marcus Messiah Garvey, you've looked at Leonard Howell, you've looked at Paul Bogle and those who marched in the in the Morant Bay War, and you've situated Finsac and the black entrepreneurs, the 44,000 black entrepreneurs in Jamaica who were made to fail by being branded bad debtors. And now, still some.
The year 2024, my people. The year 2024, 24,000 businesses, new businesses, came on board. I am not sure how many came on last year. So we are on our way to restoring all of those entrepreneurs and all of those businesses that was destroyed during the 90s. So in 2023, 24,000 new businesses registered in Jamaica. So we are doing something to rectify that in the economy. So, and it took us that long to do it, to get half of what we lost. 44,000 businesses we lost during the 90s under the PNP. That enough people not have no work. This is why Bruce Golding said 500,000 people couldn't find work. And enough of people them did graduate from school, can't read. Them left high school and then can't read. See, Jamaica find itself in a position where we are paying $550 million per day in our taxes. See, just for clear off the interest off of the debt what we owe. That is what the PNP did to this country. PNP did that between 1989 and 2007.
That we don't know how to run business, that's why we fail. Can you imagine a man who has never earned the reputation of being an entrepreneur, does not know what it is to find a pay bill when you have men waiting on that pay bill to go home to feed them family? And that man who has never made a pay bill in his life, going to look at people who have 50 years experience as entrepreneur, black entrepreneur who built this country since independence, and you go and look on them and style them as bad debtors.
Omar Davies really does have a lot to say he has not yet made, he needs to apologize, but he also, and he was the finance minister at the time, and this is why I'm identifying him, but he really does have to stand up before he dies and talk to those survivors, talk to those victims. Some killed themselves, some committed suicide. This is how serious this was. Talk to the Jamaican entrepreneurs, the black people in Jamaica who suffered so as a result of those of Finsac, and making peace with God and the ancestors. Val, we'll continue the conversation.
And you quickly realize that the black investor has virtually disappeared from the Jamaican scene. All we've seen is foreigners. What happened to us?
We're going.
And who wouldn't be?
Jamaicans are now back investing, my people. And, we have Jamaican architects and builders and real estate. Jamaicans who left Jamaica and went abroad and made something of themselves. They are now moving back in the space. For example, if you look at the Pinnacle buildings in Montego Bay, those buildings are rapidly going up, and the designer for those buildings are Jamaicans, born and raised, my people. So, this government is doing all the necessary thing to attract those kind of persons back into our economy. They had to run away during the PNP time because the PNP don't know anything about business. This is not me lying. This is hard, cold facts, my people. The PNP is a non-progressive party in Jamaica, and they destroyed the Jamaican economy, and we must talk the truth as a people.
Afraid now as a black person to go back into business.
As the question was asked,
by the way, where are our collateral? That we would have used again to get more funding to keep going again. As I tell you, is education saved us.
Right. Val, what good. We're going to continue this conversation. Where can we get the book before you go?
The book can be had at Kingston Bookshop, any of their branches, C-Mart Bookstore in Ligani Plaza, and online, Kindle, and Amazon.com. And I don't want anybody to tell me any foolishness about, oh, you rich already, so then not support the book, because I've had that said to me. Can you imagine? No, that is the weight of the bad-mindedness.
They don't know your story.
I am trying to let the millennial generation know themselves and their identity. I don't care about money. As a matter of fact, if I could get this book sponsored, I would give it free to every Jamaican young person who is thinking of investing in Jamaica, to make certain that they never ever make what happened 20 odd years ago ever happen in this country again. But without knowledge,
the book is called Too Black to Succeed, I believe it is called. See?
Have your eyes wide open in the dark, because you don't know that this country is being run by neo-colonials who bow down and pray to foreigners and leave black Jamaican people to scrounge and hustle to survive in this country. And
Val, we have to
put a stop to it.
We have to leave it there. I'm so sorry, but on that.
Why do I have Omar Davis picture up this evening, my people? Omar Davis is getting older. He's now frail. I believe him a walk with a walking stick. I believe after all of this thing that happened as well, Omar Davis was given a OD. He was given an order of distinction for services to Jamaica. Now, I don't know who gave him that. But had I been in government today, I would be begging the powers that be to take it back from him. He don't deserve that. You know, the Labour Party, I suspect Labourites would have been mixed up in this Finzac thing. They would have gotten homes and properties out of it as well. So I believe that is why they not push so hard. Funny. But where it has happened so long, and a lot of those persons who was around then, a lot of them are now gone, retired, some of them dead. You know, we need to issue out this thing and shove it out and make the chips lie where they may. You know, Omar Davis should not die without some kind of recourse to these people. You know, you have Pitney today when I'm a father. Not a mother, because their mother and father kill themselves because they lose everything overnight. The people, they just get up and lose their house. So then take 30, 40 year a bill. You know? And this was because of the government. The government do this. Omar Davis should have been a prisoner rotten. Yes. Lifestyle did for their prison. And we should not allow him to die. And you know, the people, they not get no justice. It is wrong. And the Labour Party can say Caroline. But, you know, we only have two parties in Jamaica, and some people that get something. Some people in the Labour Party that get a 5 piece of land for out of a Finzac thing. May I tell you? See, and that's just the truth. You know, and this is a time for truth. You know, all the time we can renew and make a fresh is when we get up and we say, see there, I choose this, and this happen. So and so this, so and so that. It happened already. And we're going to move on from here. So about the people that will get hurt, may we compensate them. Because had I been around that time, I have 1 piece of money and me a piece of land I sell cheap, and I probably would not think so, boy, somebody lose a piece of land or whatever, you know. Me just go buy. I go to my bank and I bank some money, and my bank manager said to me, say, yo, 1 piece of land and I start selling a rate. You can buy it to your bank. But them in a politics would have know directly where it come from and what happened. We have to clear up them thing, my people. Look for Meshach. As somebody fraud, Meshach paperwork, and the man losing house, Up till now, much year, all the man wife dead, my man wife take it to heart and dead, And the man are living in abject poverty, The man house was worth $11 million at the time. $11 million at that time house, Today worth $60 or $70 million, Today money, So if him did own a house, them the time that worth $11 million, and then sell him man house for $3 million, we worth $11 million, then sell it for $3 million, and tell him man saying still owe, This is the wickedness that PNP perpetrated in Jamaica, You take him man $11 million house, sell it for 15 and get one $4 million profit, money. You sell it for 3 to your friend, and then I tell him man saying still owe. This is the level of wickedness that the PNP perpetrated in Jamaica. They can't like me, They're not gonna like me because me always going to tell you the truth. Me always going to tell you the truth about the wickedness where PNP do in our country. There is no massacre in Jamaica that I can point to that the Labour Party did. There's no financial meltdown in Jamaica. I lie. There's an atrocity that we can point to with the Labour Party. The Tivoli incursion. Well, let us be fair. That was a massacre. But even that was brought on by PNP mismanagement. A PNP mismanagement made that even happen to, People don't realize this, but even the Tivoli incursion of PNP mismanagement, why that happened? Peter Phillips go sign things when you're not supposed to sign and put the Prime Minister in one position. All him did for go to prison for that, a treason that there, Peter Phillips did for go to prison for treason, For that, what happened there, If all the Jamaican people know what go on in our government. Yes. Forever youngster. Only for teacher, police, lawyer, soldier, everybody a buy a car now because them a get good pay. And them have 1, 2, 3 vehicles now. Omar Davis not supposed to dead, my people. And make amends for all of the wickedness I went do. And the 44,000 business were locked down. Just imagine the amount. If that the 44,000 business were locked down employed us 3 or 4 people. Now look for the amount of people will lose their work. Look. The amount of family will lose them breadwinner. Hmm? 144,000. This is the wickedness that PNP perpetrated in our country. And we must never, ever, 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 ever allow them to forget it. We must never allow them to forget it. We must shout from the mountain tops. I must tell the picking them. Say, this then do it. This is what they did to us. Mark Golding, who is now the leader of the People's National Criminal Organization, was instrumental in tearing down these people and taking away their things. You want to hear me tell you in Jamaica? Mark Golding and Peter Bunting. Then two, they want to see them a prominent politician today. They were instrumental in tearing down these people and taking away their things. A country cannot function without a middle class and the upper middle class. Those are the people who are entrepreneurs, and them fuel the economy, and them create job for me and you. We can't have their money, they forgot do it ourselves. And them create job for picking them when they left school and can get one look jobs until they go on to do better things. That is what the middle class do. You can't tear down the middle class. Michael Manley decimate it. And then PJ come desecrate it. And if Mark Golding did come in, you don't obliterate it. You know hear me I tell you no? We have to build the middle classes. And the people who are not middle class, they must aspire and dream to go up in the middle classes, while the middle classes are dream and are try to go up to, you know, the upper classes, the echelons of society. In everything you do, there is stages. You go to school, you start at infant. You go to primary, you go to secondary. You go to college, you go to university. Everything we do, there's a step ladder to it. That is the fundamentals and the foundations of life. I heard the government is building a house for me, Shaq, as well. I'm not sure, but I really hope they are. That would be really good, you know. Peter Phillips should be in prison. Omar Davis as well, my brother. PJ Patterson say a black man time. That's what they do to black people in this country. Of course. Them come to tear you down and them alright, then secure. Whole of them rich, you know. None of them right now can point me to a PNP member of parliament from yesteryear. And they never get so much pay like we them I get today. You want them what did that today, them I get enough pay. But them money when they did that, they never get so much pay. Every single one of them a multi-millionaire. Some of them are millionaire in a US. Where they get it from? Where it come from? We must not allow our children them to forget it. We must tell them. Then something you have to teach in a school, you know. We talked about civics last night. Then something you have to teach in a school. And Omar Davis not supposed to be dead and make amends. I bet the same time him and PJ dead now, you see all of a sudden he record them fine and people can know what did that mean of Finzak really. And that got me, you know. But we don't want that to happen. One if we can tell you what happened and why them people do this so we can teach you them say PNP a donkey didi. Anyway, my people, I not keep on, you know, I want to sleep. You know, I drive, I come back to them, I do a whole heap of miles today and be a buck, I drop asleep, you know. So I go get some sleep, you know. And the PNP is an absolute disaster. And we not stop talk about it. See? So all who don't like it, bite it. That's all. Anyway, my people, big up all 236 persons who is still here. Please subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. Big up all 120 persons who gave me a thumbs up. Big up on yourself. Big up my moderator them. You know. And I will soon in the morning. See? Big up on yourself. Much love. Show labor rights.